Kwity Paye is expected to be a first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft. However, his story as to how he got to this point in his career is unlike any story you've heard before. Before we get to today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. If you love college football content, then this is definitely the place for you. Kwity's mother was a member of the Kron ethnic group, which meant she was a target for armed factions, especially as the war escalated. In 1990, her village was attacked and burned down, so she fled Liberia. Many family members didn't, and they lost their lives. Her father, along with most of her family, died during the war. There were no cars, so she couldn't walk on the main road in fear of being detected by armed factions. She walked for miles through bushes and through the forest with her bare feet and very little food. Eventually, she made her way to Sierra Leone. There, she gave birth to Kamote, Kwity's older brother. But the war soon followed them and other refugees. In Sierra Leone, they were hunting Liberians down too. They had to run away further, this time to Guinea. It was there that she gave birth to Kwity on November 19, 1998. At the time, Agnes, his mother, said that Guinea was facing their own difficulties. That left her in a difficult spot. She couldn't go back to Sierra Leone, and she certainly couldn't return to Liberia. Her only option was to start a brand new life somewhere new. Her plan? Flee to the United States. She said it was her only dream that really seemed like it was a safe plan. She had a grandmother who had already immigrated to America from Sierra Leone. She also had an aunt that was there named Helen Parker. The two settled down in Providence, Rhode Island and tried sending for the rest of the family. In May of 1999, Agnes arrived in Rhode Island with her children. She knew that there was no looking back after this. She said that if they were ever to return, they'd be killed. Agnes and her two boys settled down in an apartment complex on the south side of Providence. However, it was still very difficult. They'd never been to America. This was a new place for them. They had to get used to a completely different lifestyle. At first, she found work in a group home, raising her two children on her own while studying to become a nursing assistant at the community college. Some days, she would bring her sons to class. During tests, they would sit outside and wait for her to be done. Sadly, as you'd expect, Kwity and his brother were picked on and bullied during school. They were from a different country, and other kids made fun of them for it. However, that started to change once people began to realize that the two brothers were athletically gifted and dominated every sport they'd play. It helped them make friends and discover football, even though their mom didn't want them to play because it was a violent sport. Eventually, she gave in, and Kwity joined the North End 49ers. Kwity was in the 8th grade when he attended an athletic banquet and received a glimpse of what he could achieve if he were to stick with football. Will Blackman, who grew up in Rhode Island and was a veteran in the NFL, talked to Kwity about his priorities and his potential. We got to meet, and he kind of told me that education should always come first. Even if you do love a sport, education is the first thing to come and athletics will follow. He told me to continue to grind, and there will be people that doubt you. There will be people that tell you that you can't do it. But you have to put that all to the side and stay on your own path. Just continue to follow your dreams. In 8th grade, he took an entrance exam to get into two schools: Classical High School, just down the street from his home, and Bishop Hendricken High School, a very prestigious and very expensive Catholic school. Agnes sat her son down and told him that she didn't think she'd be able to afford Bishop Hendricken, which was the much better school. However, Kwity replied with this: "Mom, if you send me to Hendricken, you won't have to pay for college." Well, he lived up to his promise. Kwity remembered those words every day. He woke up early so he could walk a mile to the bus stop and then take an hour bus ride to school. However, things were very difficult at first. He struggled academically his freshman year and wondered if he had made the right choice by picking this school. However, he remembered what he told his mom. There was no way he'd break his promise to her. So he began to get his grades up. He got better at football, playing safety and running back for the school. Then a position change suggestion from a coach provided to be the decision that ultimately changed Kwity's football career. Here's what Mike Green, Bishop Hendricken's defensive coordinator, said. "The first day in practice, I called him down and asked him, do you want to be 15 yards away from the ball or 3 yards away from the ball? He said he wanted to be closer to the ball, so he moved to defensive end." By his senior year, Paye had numerous scholarship offers and committed to Boston College. He was the #1 ranked player in the state and even earned an invite to the Under Armour All-American game. Now, mind you, a player from Rhode Island competing in this game was a rarity. But then, Michigan came calling, led by defensive coordinator Don Brown, who had previously coached at Boston College. Kwity took an official visit in October of 2016 and flipped his commitment shortly after. His role was huge. When he offered me at Boston College, he had faith in me, and I had faith in him. He wants me to go and play for him. For him to go to Michigan and to continue to recruit me just shows how much trust he has in my play. That's just a guy that I want to play for. Boston College was the college that I always wanted to go to since I was like 10 years old. Just decommitting from Boston College to go to Michigan was was really hard, but their coaching stability was kind of shaky at the time. Their program wasn't looking good. Me and my family just chose what was best for me and my future for me to develop into a great athlete and a great student. Months later, Kwity gave a speech during his signing ceremony. He looked his mom in the eye and said, "Mom, we finally made it. I'm an immigrant," he said. "We came here with nothing. My mom sent me to a Catholic school that was half her wage. I see all the time people put on Twitter, my parents were immigrants, they came to this country with nothing, and now I'm going to college with a free education. These immigrants are working hard just to make sure that their family gets a better chance." That's what my mom did. She made sure that me and my older brother could have a better chance at life and make something of ourselves. Michigan's the place where I wanted to be. That's where my family wanted to see me play. That's where they felt like I could be the most successful. When they offered, I took them into serious consideration. It's Michigan. You can't just turn a school down like that. When he signed with the Wolverines, he promised his mom that very soon she wouldn't have to lift a finger again. His mother told him that her Liberian friends and family back in Providence are watching every step of his journey. Kwity didn't see the field much during his freshman season. He appeared in 9 games, but didn't see a whole lot of snaps. He made 5 tackles and even had a sack. It was his sophomore season in which he really began to break out. He appeared in all 13 games on the defensive line and started in 4. He made 29 tackles and recorded 2 sacks. He was an all Big Ten honorable mention, even though he had far less game action than most of the other players. He was named Defensive Lineman of the Week 3 times during the season. During his junior campaign, Kwity appeared in 12 games along the defensive line and started in 11 of them. He recorded 50 tackles with 12.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hurries, and 1 fumble recovery. After a great season, he was receiving NFL draft buzz. He could have declared and gone in the first few rounds, but he opted to return to Michigan for his senior season and give it one final go. He appeared in only 4 games in 2020, totaling 16 tackles with 4 coming for loss and 2 sacks. As expected, he declared for the NFL draft, where many draft experts are saying he's likely going to be a first-round pick. But the only question is, how high in the draft will he go? But that doesn't matter to Kwity at all. All he cares about is reaching the NFL. Once he reaches the league, he wants to use his platform for good and help support a much greater cause. I want to use my platform to help those people come here legally, so they don't have to go through the fear of getting deported. There will be times when people come here and they don't get their citizenship until they're 60 or 50. I didn't get that citizenship paper until I was a sophomore in high school. I feel there should be a better way to go about it, because it shouldn't take that long. Kwity has never been to Liberia. He's never met his father, who still lives there, but he talks to him often. He also hasn't met his grandmother, whom his mother has tried and failed to bring to America. He doesn't give much thought as to what life would have been like in Liberia, but yet it's sketched into his identity. He displays the Liberian flag in the biographies of his social media accounts. Occasionally, he gives his mom some of his clothing and shoes to send back home. He's over 5,000 miles away from Liberia, but Kwity Paye couldn't feel any closer to his roots. I feel like God put me in this position to help those people. God wouldn't have brought me this far if it wasn't for me going back to help my people. So, what are your thoughts on Kwity Paye and his incredible journey to get to this point? Do you think he'll go in the first round of the upcoming NFL draft? If so, what team do you think would be the perfect fit for him? Drop a comment down below and share with me your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second and give it a thumbs up, as it really helps the channel grow. Also, if you haven't done so yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. If you love college football content, then this is definitely the place for you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.